Hey guys, welcome back to this session 11 of Java Full Stack series. Now, in the last session, we talked about arrays, right? So how arrays cannot be resized, how sequential memory is allocated to the arrays, what is the way of initializing arrays in Java, how a enhanced for loop can be used in Java, right? So these are the things that we have discussed. We have also discussed that while dealing with the arrays, we might encounter a null pointer exception or maybe array index out of bounds exception, right? And we have also seen that an array is a class type data type. If nothing is initialized to an array, by default it is going to be null. And arrays, if it is initialized, if the memory is initialized based on the data type of an array, we get the default values. If it is integer, the default value is going to be 0. If it is string, default value is going to be null. If it is boolean, boolean wrapper, then null. Boolean primitive type means false, right? So those are the things that we have discussed. Now in this session, what we will be discussing is, we will be first discussing about the elements of a method. How should we create a method, and what is the best practice creating methods, because you will be working in a distributed environment. That means you will be working with a team. As a software engineer, you will be working with a team. So how your methods will be helpful, and how can you create methods in a way which can be reused? Okay, so I'll try to make it pretty simple and easy for you to understand the importance of creating methods like that. Okay, so I'll first show you that. After that, once again, we'll definitely be using a lot of arrays in our examples, and I will also give you some hands-on exercises in which you have to make use of arrays. Okay, so from now on, I'll be giving you certain exercises. I'll be posting it on my GitHub. From there, you have to get the question, and then you have to solve it on your own, so that it will not just be about the theoretical parts. You will be learning it with the hands-on exercises. That will make you a better programmer, because practice is something that makes you perfect. So I'll first clean up everything that I have written here. Okay, and I'll try to make you understand the concept of methods in very simple way. Let's say, for example, what I'm doing is I'm creating a method. Okay, so that is to add some two numbers. So obviously we will give the method name as void add, and then I will add two numbers, system.out.println. Okay, if I do a 10 plus 20 here, and then here if I call that method, let's call it with the traditional way. In fact, in the previous class itself, I've shown you a better way of calling the method if the object references are not required. So here I'll just call this add method, and imagine that this method is created and it adds only two numbers, and you get the 30 value. Now think it this way. Okay, what is that? So there is somebody who has already created a class for you called as calculator. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll create it in a separate file itself. So from now on, you'll also get to know that multiple classes can be created in different files. It can be created. So what I'll do is I'll just create another class and use that class here. Okay, so it'll be a class calculator. Okay, and let's create this. And here in a calculator class, somebody has created a add method for you, and you are just trying to utilize that method add here. Okay, so let's create the instance of calculator. C is equal to new calculator. Object of this class calculator class is created, and then I'm trying to call that method add method here. So as a programmer, you think it this way, that you only have now also the best way of creating the object of calculator will be calculator itself. A meaningful name should be given. That is good programming practice. Okay, so once again, I'll just go back to how it was before in a full screen mode. Now this calculator class, imagine that some XYZ programmer has already created this for you, and you are just using this calculator class to add the numbers. Now tell me whether this add method is created perfectly or not, or will this be reusable? No. Why is that? That is because whenever I am using this add method, it is just adding two numbers, that is 10 and 20. So I don't have a flexibility to provide in the number, whichever numbers I want to add. I don't have the option to add those numbers, right? So because I don't have the options to add those numbers, then the problem is this, right? So the user is basically trying to do this, right? So the better way would be what? The better way would be ask the user to give two numbers, like maybe A int B, and then you do this. Instead of writing this, you take A and B. So what I'll do now is I'll first give you this so that you understand this as a problem statement, and after that I'll give you a solution for this. If this is something which was created before, so let's go ahead and create this as day 11. Day 11. So slash, this is my demo 1 problem. Okay, so this is the problem. I created a calculator separate class, and whenever in the series if I create more than one class, I will be dividing this code like this. Okay, so I have two classes created. One is calculator, another one is demo 1. Okay, both I am giving you first as a problem. So what is the problem there? The problem is that user is not able to add the numbers, right? So what I do now is I go and change the approach. Instead of directly adding 10 and 20, I go and add A and B, and I ask the user to get the values from the end user, right? So I create a method in such a way that the end user will be able to add the numbers like 12 and 20 now. So user can add 12 and 20. This is good practice. Similarly, if a user wants to add some other numbers, user can just change the numbers or multiple times. If a user wants to add the numbers, user can do this as well, right? So methods can be called multiple times, arguments can be given to the method. So this is a better approach, right? So now whenever I'm running this piece of code, I'm getting that this looks good, a better solution for the previous problem. But still there is a problem in this code. Now what is the problem in this code? So let me first add this demo and tell you what is the problem. So demo 2 solution. Okay, so calculator, we created it with two arguments, right? Now let's go ahead and understand the problem here. Now what is the problem? There is one more problem in this. Now to understand that problem, we have to go level up, right? Now understand this thing. Whenever as a software developer you are creating an application, suppose I have created an add functionality here. So I want to use this functionality as much as possible. That is, let's talk about something. There are three type of applications that we generally create. What is that? Window based applications, web based applications, or mobile based applications. For example, see, window based applications, this paint is a window based application, right? So you see a graphical representation of things. It is a window based stuff, right? No internet is required for this. Similarly, we have web based applications like your see GitHub, which I am using here. If you see GitHub, this is a web based application, requires an internet, graphical user, but requires an internet for this application to run. Similarly, we have some mobile based applications as well that runs in your mobile phone, correct? So I want to utilize this add functionality. So while creating, as a developer, if I am creating this add functionality, I want this add functionality to be used anywhere, right? I am a developer, I am building this functionality add, and I want this add functionality to be used across the applications. If that's the case, then only it is flexible, right? So I have to create it in a way where everybody should be using it. And there is one more type of applications that can be created, which are called as console based applications. What are that console based applications? Now console based applications are only command based applications. You can see that only a command based representation, only character user interface. So this is a console based application where you communicate with the application only using the commands, right? So now what we have done is we have created our application. This add method is created in such a way that it only prints me the result on console. There are two problems with this. I can get the result of it, and I may want to get to know the average of those two numbers. I don't have that option available to me. And what if I want to print it on a web browser, not on a console? Or maybe I want to print it on a window, not on a console. So in such cases, what should I be doing, right? So let us now enhance it a bit more and make it flexible to suit that requirement. So how do we do that? So in that case itself comes this important part here, that is the return type of a method. So whenever I talk about the return types of a method, I always give this example to my students so that they understand the importance of the return type. So what we have to do is we have to just return this a plus b. Okay, the functionality has to be returned back to the user. The result has to be returned back to the user. So now what a user has to do is, user now has the advantage of getting this result. Int sum is equal to calculator dot add. So user gets that sum, and if a user wants to print it on a console, user can print it on a console like this, sum. So user has the option to print it on a console. Or if the user wants to get the average of that, so user can do a sum by divided by 2. So user gets the average of those numbers. If a user wants to print it maybe on a window, right? This is not a web application, but I can create a small window based application and make this possible. So what I can do is I can just use a jOptionPane dot show message dialog. Okay, and as for now, let's keep this null, and then I'll go for the sum and save it. Let's run this piece of code, and now you can see 32 is actually the result. 32 is printed to me on a pop-up, right? So instead of just showing the result on a console. So now this add method is created in such a way that the end user can print it anywhere. The end user, if he wants the result and want to manipulate that result, he can manipulate that result and get the average of it. If the end user just wants to print it on the console, then the end user can print it on the console as well. If the end user wants to print it on a pop-up, user can do that also, right? So now the method is created in a flexible way. So this is a better solution to what we have provided in the previous example. So I hope now you understand the importance of this part, return type of a method. So when we talk about a method, what all things a method can contain? Method contains access specifiers, comma, access modifier, comma, return type, identifier, okay, argument list, and body. So these are the things what a method can contain with it. Access specifier can be there, access modifier can be there, return types are there, identifier, that is the name of the method, then the argument list will be there, and then the body of the method. So these are called as the elements of a method. Very important thing while dealing with the methods. If suppose I'm creating something like public static void main string arguments, and then I give this body. So this main method has everything. It has access specifier, it has access modifier, it has the return type, it has the identifier, then the argument list is there, and then the method body is there. So these are the elements of a method. Each one of them has a very special meaning associated with it. So we should be knowing each and everything about the methods so that we can create the methods in a better way, so that our methods can be used. Now, why should we create methods in such a way? See, we have predefined classes available with us. Like a string class is a predefined class. So if suppose string class, there is a string class, what it does, let's create a normal string. Let's say string x is equal to hello. And now we have a method called as replace in string that replaces old character with the new character. So let's use that replace method. So what I want is I want a old character L to be found and it should be replaced with K. Okay. So now when I use the x dot replace, you see that it is not doing a system.out.println for me, right? So there is no result here. It's not doing a system.out.println for me. It actually returns me the result of that. Okay. And now I can take that result and print it on a console if I wish to print it on a console, or whatever I want to do with that result, I can do something with that result, right? So if I get that result, if I further want to concatenate it or manipulate it, I can manipulate it or concatenate it. Imagine a string class giving you just a system.out.println of it. So if it just gives you a system.out.println, there is no use of such methods, right? So always we should see what string class is doing, how replace method is created. A replace method is created in string, something like this, right? So let us create a replace method, okay? A method which is similar to replace method. Since we don't have a power over a string object, so we cannot go into string class and modify the method, okay? But what we can do is we can create a method that looks like a replace method, okay? So let's go ahead and try to create a method that looks like a replace method and does whatever a replace method is doing. Okay, so for that what I would need is, since there are a lot more things has to be added, which with time I will tell you. See, there is an import statement here. Why is this import statement coming into picture? I'm using something called as JOption pane. JOption pane is present in the package called as javax.swing. So we will talk about the packages, we will talk about the access specifiers, and everything we will talk about. It definitely takes some time to understand this concept. That's why my videos are a bit lengthy. So if you want to learn Java in details, obviously you have to spend some time on it. So what you can do is you can watch my videos in 1.5x speed if you have less time. But to be very frank, the topics that I have already covered, still there is lot I can talk about on those topics that I have already covered. So I am trying to cover minimum things. Still those minimum itself is lot. Okay, so you have to definitely spend some time if you want to master in this Java full stack development. So I am not somebody who gives you the courses like what learn Java full stack in 1 hour or learn Java full stack in 10 hours. No, I don't do that. So we should understand it thoroughly so that we are perfect in it. Now going back to the topic without giving you any more lecture. So I was about to create a method that looks like a replace method. So what I'm going to do is, as for now, I'll not take a public one. I want to return a string, right? So I want to give back the user a modified string. So I'll say the return type of a method as string. I'll call it as my replace. Okay, any meaningful method name. And then my method takes any string that you give. So you give the string input. Okay. And then you give me a char old character, and then you give me a char new character. So old character will be replaced with a new character, and after replacing that I need to return you the output. Okay, string output will contain whatever is given by you. It will modify that and give you that. So if a method has any return type other than void, it has to return the same type of value. That means if a method return type of a method is integer, then it has to return an integer result. If the method's return type is string, it has to return a string result. If the method's return type is cat, it has to return an object of cat. If the method's return type is boolean, it has to return a boolean result. So here the method's return type is string, it has to return some string. So what I will do is, first I will just say it returns some string. What we have to return is, we have to, whatever string we are getting, we have to modify that and then return this string. Okay, hope you get what I am saying here, return type. So now what I need is, whatever input you give, I have to modify that input, find the characters into that input and replace those characters with a new character. So basically I am trying to do a find and replace. So first I have to break down your string. So what it is like, suppose for example, let's go back to our drawing board and understand that. Suppose you give me something like hello. Okay, so let me draw it this way. If you give me HELLO, and you give me the old character as, you are giving me hello, you're giving me old character as L, find L and replace with K. So the same example which I've taken. So what I have to do is I have to break down the string first. Okay, I have to take it into a character array. Then what I have to do, I have to iterate over it. Okay, so first thing will be to break down this. Okay, when I break it down, then I have to iterate over this, traverse over this, and then try to find if this character matches this character or not. If this character matches this character, then what I have to do is replace this character on this particular position. So that is what I have to do. So let's see how do I do it in terms of programming. I hope you have understood what exactly is required. We get a string, break it down and iterate over that string. Wherever we find the find character, replace it with the replace character. That's what I need. Find the old character, replace it with a new character and then return the modified string. So let's see how do we do that. So first thing is, what I have to do is whatever input is given to me, I have to convert that string into a character array. Let's see how do we convert a string into a character array. We have a predefined method available into a string class called as toCharArray. So this converts a given string that is input into a character array and returns us a character array. So let's say char ch is equal to, that is the character array, or we can call it as input array, a more meaningful name to it. Okay, and this is a array. So we got an array now. So first thing was to break it down. We have broken it down. We have to iterate over it. We know how do we iterate over it. We can use a traditional for loop or an enhanced for loop. So most of the time whenever I'm performing manipulations, I'm an old Java programmer, so I'll be using a traditional for loop itself, and there are some cases where traditional for loop itself will be used, else we have to bring in more variables if we are using a normal enhanced for loop. So I'll go for int I equals to 0, I is less than. Now I is less than what, how much length I have to iterate over. So whatever is the length of input, I have to iterate over, I have to iterate those many times. So I'll say input dot length. So input dot length and input array dot length will be same because it is the same character array getting converted. Input is getting converted into this. But if you are taking input dot length, it will be a method because input is a string. If you are taking an input array dot length, it will just be a property method. It will not be a method. Do remember that point. Then I do a I plus plus. Okay. So I'll show you what I actually mean by that length method and length property. If I'm using a array, then I have to use a length as a property because there is no length method available in an array. Length method is available in string. So this is again, it can be an interview question to you. Length string class has length property or length method. String class has a length method, whereas array class has a length property. So I can take a input array dot length or I can take input dot length. Both will be the same itself. Okay. So if hello is passed, HELLO, it will be 5 for both. So now I will be iterating over it. Now when I'm iterating over it, what I do as of now is I'll just show you that it is the same input that is being converted. So I'll just be doing a system.out.println. So I'll not go with everything. So input array of I is something that I want to print. So let's go here and call that method and just see how things work here. So as for now, I hope I have already given you this particular code, solution 2. Yeah, it's already posted here. So let me check once again if I have given you a J option pane or not. No, I have not. So I'll give you that first. This is my solution there, so that you are not confused in both the codes. So this is demo 3. So here we go, calculator, and I'm calling a J option pane and all that. And then I will give you this calculator class without the myReplace method. So I'll copy this here, paste it here and remove the myReplace method. So this is what it was before. Okay. So I'll comment it here and then we will move to the solution now. Now the next point is I'll just show you first what we are getting. So whatever user gives, we will be reading it and we break it down. So as for now, I'll remove this sum calculator and everything. Just remove it. And I was using a replace method before. It was a string class replace method, so I'll not be using that. I will try to use my replace method, which I have created into a calculator class, my replace method, and the string is same, HELLO. As for now, I did not provide any character here, so let me just provide in some characters. Okay, so let's save it and also see what is the problem here. So we'll save this. This looks good here. Let's see what's the problem. So invalid character constant. Okay, let's give some character, or at least a blank space can be given. But as for now, we are doing nothing with the characters. So let's run this and check what is the result. So you can see this hello, whatever we have passed is broken down, right? That's why it is printed in system.out.println. Next line it is printed. So all the values are broken down. So what is the next step? We have broken it down. Now we have to find the old character and replace it with a new character. So as simple as that. So what I'll do is now is I'll simply iterating over it. So if in this input array of I, if it equals to the old character, okay, at any position, if I find the old character at that position, what I will do is input array of I will be equal to the new character. Okay, that's it. That's what I want to do. If a old character is found, then replace it with a new character. So this input array will be modified now. So what I am trying to ask is find L and replace it with K. So it will do that. And once it does that, I want to return this input array. But what is the return type of this? The return type is a string. So how do I convert that into a string again and return it as a string? So I'll say string output string is what I'll call it as, is equal to new string. So this is another way of creating string, right? So you can see that string object can be created with a character array. So I'll take an input array, modified one, and return the same thing, output string. So I'll save it. Let's go back here and we will get the result here. Okay, so that is a string result is equal to, and let's do a system.out.println. Let's print the result. Let's save it and run it and see how our replace method works. You can see that our replace method also takes the hello, and then whatever you want to find, we wanted to find L and replace it with K. So I found L and replaced it with K. So that's how we can also create our replace method. I hope you have understood the logic that I have used here. Mainly, instead of this logic, my main purpose of showing you this method was to show you the importance of return type, importance of arguments. So the user not only can pass in hello and replace the characters, any string you can pass and replace any characters of your choice. For example, this, let's say string y equals to, I want to, let's say I have something like testing, and I want to find out, let's say result 1 from calculator. I want to find T in testing and replace it with R so that it becomes resting. So system.out.println result 1. So let's save it and let's run this and check whether we get that resting or not. So we got resting. So this way we can create our own methods, right, and provide in the return types, also use the logics to whatever things that we want to perform, we can perform that. And here you can see that I'm using a array of type character. So in the previous session itself we talked about the arrays, and in real time now we are using the arrays, and we talked about the branching of statement if else. So here we are using that if else here. We have also used a comparison operator here, equal to, because we are comparing what, a single character with a single character. We are not comparing strings. If we compare strings, we use equals method. So in all previous sessions we have We have talked about the equal to operator. We have talked about the equals method, right? And one new method we are talking about from the string class is that toCharArray, which converts the current string into a character array. And in the previous session, we talked about the looping as well. So I'm talking about the looping. The looping is used here. So as the session progresses, we will be utilizing everything that we have learned. So nothing will be wasted. Okay. So I hope you got this one. I'll just put this into the repository for your reference. So let's call it as demo for my replace method. Okay. So this is one class, calculator class, that I created, and then the other class which I am using as a service class. So as the time progresses, you'll also understand what these service classes are, where should we add the main method and all that. Okay. All right. So I hope now what I will do is I'll give you some assignments for your references. So you try and do this in your machine. So some simple exercises related to what I have done here. Okay. So what you guys try and do is I'll write that question here itself. You guys try to implement the same in your machine. So I'll give you this as a reference for it, and we will definitely talk about the access specifiers, modifiers, return type we have already discussed here, or argument list also we have already discussed, right? So we will definitely talk about this access specifiers and modifier when we are talking about the access specifiers and modifiers. At the same time, we will talk about the packages also. Okay. So I'll keep this comment as it is. So then next thing is I'll write my question here. What you are required to do. So what you are going to do is you have to write a Java method. Okay. So just a method. You add a method, not a class. Write a Java method that converts all small case characters into, or let's say that counts small case characters in a given string. So you have to just count the small case characters in a given string. Suppose, for example, if the given string is something like HELLO, so your result output should be what? 2, because hello contains just 2 small case characters. Once again, one more example. If I give you HELLO, at that time it should be 3. Okay, that's what I want. You first count the small case characters. Again, you should not be using any Java's built-in methods. You try and create the methods like this. Ensure. So your method name will be count small case characters. That should be your method name. And the return type, guess the return type. Okay, you have to guess the return type, whatever return type. And here also you guess what is required. To make it easy for you, it will be a string input. Okay, in a given string, I have already written that. So it will be a string input, and in the given input itself, you have to count the number of characters, and then method body will be written. You write a return. Here also you have to guess. Okay, so wherever I have written a question mark, you have to guess there. Write your logic and guess the return value for it. Write the logic here and then guess the return type. Okay, so I hope by next session you will be doing this, and if you find any problem doing this, then you can always comment on the videos, and I'll help you if there is any problem in it. Or first you try and do it on your own. You don't ask the AI chat GPT to do this for you. Okay, because if you are doing that, then you are cheating yourself itself. So you try and do it on your own. If not, then you can definitely ask AI and take the help from AI to solve these type of problems for you. But my main goal is to make you understand the concepts. Okay. So I hope that now you got to know the importance of writing a return type to a method, okay, and giving arguments to a method and using arrays in real time. So in the next session, definitely we will talk about the access specifiers, access modifiers and all. So sometimes the session length can be increased. So you please don't mind those things. And if you are liking in the series, do share it with your friends and help them grow with you. See you in the next video.